Welcome, I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching The Plant Doctor. What we're doing today, I bought this spreader, the Scotts Elite spreader. My old spreader, the gears were wore out in it, it was time to replace it. This one had really good reviews online. I'll leave a link for it down in the description below. So if you want to purchase it off of Amazon and have it delivered straight to your door, you help the channel out here just a smidge. But let's walk through this product and I'm going to give you my pros and cons of what I like and don't like. I'm going to walk you through the assembly of it. I'm going to walk you through the calibration. So I'll show you how to calibrate a fertilizer, and then we'll put some fertilizer out on the yard. So when we first open it up, there is going to be some assembly required, it looks like. So it's pretty light. One of the reasons I bought this spreader is because it has rubber tires. I like the idea of having inflatable tires, but I didn't like the idea of having to pump them up. Some of the spreaders that you get off the shelf, they have hard plastic tires and they just don't roll good, but these are more of a hard rubber composite, and that was one of the selling points for me, were these tires. So let's go ahead and open this up. It's got some zip ties on it you're going to have to cut. There's one there. So one zip tie. And then on the sides, it looks like you just screw down the handles. Okay, so we've moved the camera around to a different angle so I can show you how to do the wheel assembly. I already did this one down here on the bottom. Just I wanted to make sure I knew how to do it before I actually put it on film. And so it's really straightforward. So you've got a wheel here, the side with the knob sticking out. That goes down right there. Twist it, you'll feel it catch and go into place. It'll go down a little further. The next thing you need to do comes with a washer. That washer goes on. And then you're going to have a little coddle pin. Put your coddle pin in. Might help if I go in this way. There we go. Now, I was able to bend these coddle pins with my fingers. So one side of the pin goes one way, like that. The other side of the pin goes the other way. You may need like a pair of needle nose pliers to do that. But the gauge of that wire was just small enough I was able to do it with my fingers. And then it has a cap. So the cap has three little prongs, and there's three little insertion dents, if you will, on the wheel. You just line those up, and then what I did, that one just slid right in there, but on the other one I had to take a little rubber mallet and give it a love tap, and it popped right in. So the assembly on this was very easy. I assembled this in less than 3 minutes. It wasn't much to it at all. All right, so I really like the way it feels. We're going to test it here in a minute after we calibrate. But these hard rubber tires, they feel really good. You've got dual spreaders on either side. So there's a left side spreader and a right side spreader. Another feature that I like about the Scotts Elite is the fact that you don't have to hold the trigger down the whole time. There's a locking mechanism on the handle so you can release the trigger while pushing the hopper in the yard. Also, there's an edge guard on the Scotts Elite. So you can engage the edge guard on the right hand side of the hopper. It's not going to allow fertilizer or seed to go out the right hand side. So you can use this along the edge of a gutter. You can use this along the edge of a driveway and not have to worry about having fertilizer get on your driveway or in the gutter. There's also a place to put your cell phone, conveniently located at the top of the pushing bars. You can put your cell phone there to use the My Lawn app that Scotts has developed. And so the My Lawn app is available on Android and on Apple devices. Or if you're like me, you can use Bluetooth audio to listen to music as you're spreading fertilizer throughout the yard. Another feature that I like about the Scotts Elite is the dial setting. So you can use the dial to calibrate the amount of fertilizer that's going out the bottom of the hopper. And if you're using Scotts products, oftentimes on the bag, it'll tell you in advance what setting that you need to use. So the next thing I want to do is to calibrate my fertilizer spreader. And I've intentionally chose a part of the yard where there's really not a whole lot of grass. I get a lot of shade here. I'm in the process of bringing this bed down. But what this is going to allow me to do when I spread the fertilizer here, I can see my fertilizer distribution real easily on this bare patch of dirt. If you have a place where your grass is thin, this is kind of a good place to do it. We've got 5 pounds of fertilizer in the hopper. I put the spreader setting on 4. I did some reading, so if you use a Scotts product, they'll tell you what dial number to put it on, but I'm using Simplot products, so there's going to be a little bit of math involved here, but I've got 5 pounds of product in. I'm going to start right here beside this camellia bush to my right, and we're just going to start spreading fertilizer. And I'm basically just going to cover ground until the fertilizer's out. So there's one pass. And this is going to be 2 passes. Just judging by what I'm seeing here, it's probably going to take 3 or 4 passes to get done. And I'm going, for the sake of being on camera, I know I'm getting off screen here, I'm going to turn back around this way. We're just going to double up on this area because I know my math's going to work out right after just seeing this for a second. All right, so this is going to be 6 passes. And all we're trying to do here is calculate the square footage that we're covering with the spreader before it goes out. And this will probably be my last pass. I'm running empty. So this is going to be pass number 7. And it's pretty much empty. There's just a smidge of product left in there, not enough to make another pass. So now what? Well, we measure, and I've already measured this off. I'm 50 feet away from you right now. So this is 50 feet, and I did that in 6-foot increments. So 6 times 3 is 18. So 18 times 50, so that's going to give 20 times 50, it'll give us 1,000 minus 50 and 50. That's 900 square feet here that we've done. So this area here is 900 square feet that we're working with. I went over it almost 3 times. By the time I made one more pass, I didn't have quite enough for math purposes. So 900 times 3, that's going to be 2,700 square feet. So 5 pounds of product on setting number 4 covered 2,700 square feet. And then from there, we can use our numbers on our fertilizer to tell us how many pounds of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium that we're putting out. Okay, so I've done some rough math here. So we covered 2,700 square feet with 5 pounds on the 4 setting. So that tells us, I'm putting out, it actually works out pretty good. I'm putting out a 20-10-10 today. That tells me on setting 4 that I'm going to put out 1 pound of nitrogen per 2,700 square feet, which is not a lot. I'm shooting for like 2 pounds of N per 1,000. So I'm going to continue to play with the calibrations a little bit and get the number correct. And then we're going to go out and apply some fertilizer to the yard. So got the fertilizer spreader calibrated for the product that I'm putting out today. My setting ended up being closer to a 7 to get the correct amount of product out. So how do I put out my fertilizer? With this edge guard, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the edge guard and I'm going to go around the perimeter first. And then once we're done with the perimeter, what we'll do, we're going to go back and forth across the yard in 6-foot swaths, because what this fertilizer spreader does, it spreads in a 6-foot wide pattern. So that way we should have equal distribution across the whole yard as we spread our fertilizer. So now that I've had an opportunity to use this in the yard, let me give you my thoughts. For something that you can have delivered to the house or pick up at a big box store like Lowe's or Home Depot, this is an excellent product. I've used commercial equipment and I've used residential equipment. In terms of residential equipment, this is probably the best one I ever used. I love the rubber tires. They're much easier to push through the grass than like a plastic tire. The hopper's nice and big and sturdy. The mechanics are easy to use. The dial's easy to use. The edge guard's easy to use. The lock for the trigger is easy to use. I like the handles. They're ergonomic, so they sit at like a 45-degree angle. You're not up like this. You're kind of down on each side of it, so you can really push it a whole lot easier than if the bar was just straight across. So if you have just a residential lot that's quarter-acre, half-acre turf or less, I would recommend this. I really like this. This will last you for years and years and years. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor. And until next time, happy gardening. All right.